Welcome back. In this step, we'll try and revise all that we have learned about the Entity Manager. Entity Manager is a simple interface. It's an interface to something called a persistent context. So persistence context is a very important concept as far as JPA is concerned. Here we are playing with a lot of entities, right? Course 1 is an entity, course 2 is an entity, and there might be other entities we are playing with in a single transaction. All the entities that are being saved through the entity manager are saved to something called a persistence context. The persistence context keeps track of all the different entities which are changed during this specific transaction, and also it keeps track of all the changes that needs to be stored back to the database. And we saw that entity manager offers a lot of different methods, right? So it offers a lot of fine methods to be able to execute queries against the database and retrieve data back. It offers persist method so that I can create an entity in the database. Entity manager merge method helps me to save the changes that I have done to the course down to the database. We can delete an entity by using the remove method. We also looked at the flush method, which helps to persist all the changes until now down to the database in the middle of a transaction as well. And also we looked at refresh method, which helps us to override the changes and refresh the content from the database. We also looked at detach method, which would detach the entity from the persistence context. What happens with the detach method is that particular entity, the changes to it are no longer tracked by the entity manager. Entity manager is a very important thing for you to understand. So I would recommend you to play around with the entity manager and also try and read the different stuff which is present inside the interface entity manager. Until the next step, bye bye.